This is a sports catastrophe production. Hey there, hello there. It's Jeff Cutastrophe welcoming you to another sports catastrophe on this day. And on this day, June 25th in 1978, the World Cup finally ended, with Argentina, the hosts, defeating the Dutch 3-1 in extra time. You'll be thinking, hang on a minute. If it's overtime, then isn't it supposed to be by one? In soccer, no. They have the rule that you play 30 minutes of extra time no matter what after the 90. Anyway, so Argentina became the fifth team in history to win the tournament and world champions. Uruguay did it in 1930, Italy did it in 1934, England in 66, and West Germany in 74. So it looked huge and all that. Argentina beat Holland. Brazil won the third place game and all that. Iran and Tunisia would make their debuts. And this was the last time the World Cup had 16 teams instead of the 32 teams we know now. So it went from 16, now it jumped up to 24 for the World Cup in Spain because of all the African and Asian countries kind of complaining and all that. Unfortunately, the 78 tournament would be marred by the whole military coup in Argentina by 1976 and all that. So just process that for a second. All right, that's your second. Now, qualifying for the World Cup was not as easy as it is. The Asian nations had one team. Africa only had one team. Oceania could have qualified, but they failed. CONCACAF, or North America as we call it, had only one competitor. CONMEBOL, South America had 3 teams, and UEFA had 10. So it was huge. The biggest shocks were that England and the Czechs, missed the World Cup. England, for the second straight time, they missed the World Cup, which wasn't good. That wouldn't be the last time they missed the World Cup. The European champions couldn't even qualify, as Scotland sent the Czechs flying. Uruguay failed miserably. And for the first time in 20 years, they missed out on the World Cup. Anyway, over 100 nations came in. Of course, the big controversy was the fact that the military coup happened. And there were rumors that, Argentina was just asking for trouble. So anyway, recapping the 1978 World Cup. First round, Italy and Argentina made it out of their group over France and Hungary. One of the shocking moments was the France versus Hungary, that they both decided to wear white. They both wanted to wear their white kits, and of course they couldn't clash. So France had to wear a local club's jerseys, the green striped jerseys, and then won. But yeah, Italy and Argentina were the classic group one. Group 2 saw Poland and West Germany. Move on. Tunisia almost did it. Tunisia became the first African nation to win a game at the World Cup after they beat Mexico. Mexico, the perennial losers. But Poland and West Germany moved on. Tunisia only had 3 points. But unfortunately, Germany tied them, so they couldn't shock the world. Group 3 saw Austria and Brazil qualify at the behest of Spain and Sweden. I mean, Austria shocked a lot of people, in my mind. Beating Spain in the first game, that was what helped them out. Group 4 saw one of the biggest shocks. Well, Peru and Holland moving out. Well, Peru moving out is a shock. But Scotland, who were top 10 in the world, who thought they were going to win the World Cup, and released that song, Ali's Army. And we'll really shake him up when we win the World Cup, because Scotland are the greatest football team. Yeah, right. Scotland bungled it. Their first game, they lost to Peru 3-1. They tied Iran 1-1. Now that was huge, because Scotland, to lose to Peru is one thing, but to tie Iran? Are you serious? The only point Iran had at the World Cup in 78? was in Scotland's hands. Anyway, Scotland did beat Holland 3-2. The only problem was that Holland rested their stars because they knew that they were going to move on to the second stage. Scotland had to win by 3 goals to sneak past Peru. It didn't work, as Peru sent Iran home with a 4-1 win. So the second round happened. And instead of having quarterfinals, semis, and finals with the knockouts formats, they had 2 groups of 4 teams. The top team from each group would move on to the final, and the second best team from the group would go to bronze, play for third. In Group A, there was no problems. Well, Holland won with 2 wins and a tie. Holland crushed Austria, they tied Germany like normal, and they beat Italy. Italy took second with 3 points, meaning that they would play for third. Germany and Austria were out. Well, Germany botched a chance to get to at least the third place playoff by losing to Austria 3-2. It was shocking. Austria winning against Germany? Well, unfortunately, 4 years later, those 2 countries would be in a controversy called the disgrace of Gijón. Anyway, Group B saw the biggest move. Well, Argentina and Brazil were drawn in the same group with Poland and Peru. Poland and Peru were both overmatched. Peru gave up 10 goals. Whoa. Peru got crushed by Brazil 3-0. Lost to Poland 1-0. But anyway, Brazil beat Poland. That was a shocking win. Right? Wrong. But in Rosario, Argentina had to beat Peru by 4 goals to win the group and to put Brazil in the third place game. Well, you can kind of guess what happened. Well, Argentina crushed Peru 6-0. The only problem was Peru seemed to not play their best and were bribed. Allegedly, Argentine officials pressured Peru to throw the game in exchange for unfreezing Peruvian assets of up to $60 million in today's dollars. So Peru may have laid down for Argentina, but they made themselves look like a twat, especially Tefila Cubillas. However, the third place playoff happened and Brazil beat Italy 2-1. With Nenlinho's famous long range shot, eluding Dino Sof. However, the final happened between Argentina and the Dutch. Now, the problem was, before the game, Argentina made Holland wait like 10 to 15 minutes before they arrived for their World Cup final stuff. Kind of gamesmanship. And also, Argentina was ticked off with Jun25 and his cast. So I think I got the guy wrong, but anyway, yeah, they didn't like the Dutch player playing in a cast, even though that every opponent that Holland faced did not complain about that. So I think it was just Archie Barchie. Well, Mario Kempes, the star of the tournament, scored in the 38th minute. However, Holland got a goal by Naniga. 1-1, we go to extra time. 30 minutes, most goals wins. Otherwise, we go to a penalty shootout. But Kempes sailed the issue with a key goal, and Bertoni scored. So Argentina defeated Holland 3-1 to win the World Cup. Very good, don't you think? Yeah, I know. It was pretty good, don't you think? But unfortunately, it will still be controversial for how Argentina conducted themselves to try to get the World Cup in front of their home nation. So that just wasn't cricket at all. It would be the last time a home country won the World Cup until France in '98. So, yeah, that's weird and all that. Argentina still had the junta, but by 1983, it was overthrown because of the failed Falkland Islands debacle. So, good on Argentina for trying to clean up their act, even though that sometimes it just doesn't work. Anyway, I'm Jeff. I'm going to do.